What is going on, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of The Row Show. As always, I am your host, Jay. Who else but me? And today we are at episode 20. Can you believe it? Episode 20 already. It seems like we just started episode 1 not that long ago. And I guess in retrospect, we kind of did. But man, 20 weeks have gone by. And it's been a crazy ride so far. A lot of up and downs doing this project between technical malfunctions with my equipment, trying to figure out all that good stuff. And luckily, there's been a good support system that's already been established for podcasters that have dealt with some of the stuff I've dealt with already. I appreciate everybody's support for sure. I think as of right now, we're probably hovering around 7,000 plays on YouTube. And that's just YouTube. That's not all the other streaming devices that I'm on. So thank you very much. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. And not only that, I would like to reiterate that the number one way you can support this show is by liking and subscribing everything. That's everything. Doesn't matter what it is. But most importantly, I've got a goal set here on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, and of course, if you're on Spotify, absolutely follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. Please, I would appreciate it if you do follow me on that. But if you're watching here on YouTube, I would like to definitely request that you subscribe to this page. And who knows, we might be doing a giveaway sooner than later to people who are subscribed on the YouTube. And you guys know, when it comes to me, I make sure that I make as much of an impact as possible. So whatever that giveaway may or may not be, it's going to be a good one. So please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening to this to. I want to be at 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of summer 2024. So, and it's spoiler alert, the prize would possibly go to whoever is on my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into episode 20 with some of the homies from Sky, Swamp, Orange, Stray, and Novls. Man, there's a lot of people out there in the underground today who are hustling their asses off, and these guys are definitely a part of that. And I always enjoy chopping it up with these guys. And I'm going to go ahead and stop babbling now. And here's a quick word from our sponsor, and enjoy the episode, y'all. All right, everybody, it's time to stop and let you know about today's sponsor of the show, Crazy Martin's in Piqua, Ohio, one of my favorite places in the entire world to go to. Crazy Martin's has provided their customers with quality products for over 20 years, from ashtrays to water pipes and everything in between. Stop in, check out their selection, and of course, check out their pinball machines. With over 20 pins to choose from, there is something for everyone. Crazy since 1996. I don't just say this about every place. I love going to Crazy Martin's. I've always loved going to Crazy Martin's ever since I was of age to go to Crazy Martin's. It's one of my favorite places in the entire world. Me and my wife go there almost every Sunday to play pinball machines. It is one of the funnest spots in Ohio you could possibly find. It is in Piqua, Ohio. Check out their website at www.crazymartins.com. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to yet another edition of The Row Show. I am your host, Jay. Who else but me, of course. And today, I've got two people that I have known through the Camp Zool circuit. First time I met them was at the first Camp Zool. We'll get into a little bit more of that later. However, I've seen them at pretty much everything they've been invited to after the fact, and I respect that so much more than most people realize, because to get your name out there, you got to get out there on the grind, and these two absolutely are on said grind. It is Stray and Novls. My brothers, how we doing? Stray, let's start with you. How's it going, dude?
I'm good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having us today.
No problem. Novls, what's going on over there, bub?
What's going on, man? I'm doing great. Fantastic.
Well, I just kind of wanted to sit down and talk with you guys. We chatted a little bit before we hit record on this, but a lot of the people that I run into since I've been working for AXE, I don't really get a chance to talk to. Like, we've known each other for 3 years, almost 4 at this point. It's getting close to 4. And I don't get an opportunity to sit down and talk too much with some of the acts that I'm getting to know. So that's the good thing about doing this show, is I get a chance to literally sit down and chat with y'all and get to know you guys better. So this is going to be a raw interview in the literal sense, as in I can't have prepared questions other than a normal outline because I don't know anything. So let's go ahead and dive into you guys. We're going to talk about your history. We're going to talk about how you guys linked up. So Novls, let's go ahead and start with you. Just give us a little bit about your background to start off with.
All right. Well, so for me, I've been playing music for a long time. When I was like 13 years old, my parents gifted me a bass for my birthday, and it changed my whole entire trajectory of things. Basically, I had sports pushed on me as a kid. It was never my thing, but music was there, so I started playing bass, got involved with the jazz band, and I actually was part of like a Christian contemporary like youth band for a while. And then then I after that I like kind of fucked off for a few years and was being a real rascal at like 18 years old, to so to speak, doing dumb shit, partying real hard. And I had a friend of mine, Ronnie, hit me up, who is, as you know, a member and guitarist of Sky Swamp Orange. 'Cause we had known each other from when I was in high school, and he said, "Hey, man, like I don't know if you'd be interested, but we're kind of working on this project. We need a bass player, so if you're down, I might hit you up in a few months." And from there, join Sky Swamp, and it's kind of what rolls into this era now.
Yeah. And the rest is history, as I said, which we'll obviously get
Exactly.
into. We'll get into a little bit more. And it's funny, one thing real fast. I actually had no choice. But when I started doing music and stuff, it was at a local place here in Tip City, Ohio called The Avenue. It was ran by a church. So the only way I was able to start doing music at the age of 13 live for people was I had to do Christian rap. I didn't at the time. I didn't give a damn. It was funny because I would do Christian rap on these shows, right? But oh god, my mom's gonna watch this. I'm sorry, mom. We would be taking these girls outside and doing terrible things, and then going back inside and doing Christian rap. Oh God, I've never told that story publicly.
That's how
But
the
anyway,
Lord intended it, baby.
anyway, that's neither here or there. I felt the need to say that because you said that. But I know a lot of people that went that route too. It's weird how many people have started off in that avenue and then later in life, it progresses and goes to something more. Stray, let's go ahead and go with you, bub. A little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I guess my first like musical kind of endeavors or whatnot started when I was young. I started out by like playing the drums and whatnot. Just kind of for fun, not taking anything super serious, tried to do like the school band thing and like marching band and all that fun shit. But it wasn't until like, I don't know, I got to high school and I linked up with this dude who he rapped at the time, and we'd always just be kicking it and bullshitting, and like how you do when you're a teenager, you just start kind of like freestyling with each other and all that shit, and eventually that led to us kind of like me starting to rap more, and we got like a shitty little recording setup, and we started making these like bunk ass songs, out of the bedroom type shit. And, but we also started playing like local bars, and, we were hopping like Greyhounds down to like other cities and shit, trying to just get in on these like, yo, come sign up and you can get like 5 minutes on stage in front of like this radio DJ or some shit, like total rip off shit. But,
Right.
that's where we kind of learned to cut our teeth, when it came to hecklers and all that shit, like at a super young age. But as a fan, I was always into, rap growing up, and underground rap to be specific, like the early like Psychopathic Records stuff, Strange Music, Sub Noise, Mission Infects, like whatever, all that kind of stuff. And that's, I kind of just came up on that. Always had love for the scene. And even though it was like the music I started making wasn't like anything kind of having to do with that scene, it's just like as a fan, I was always kind of involved, so I always kind of kept my ear to it. And that's how got aware of people like Zool and all those guys. But yeah, I was doing the rap group thing for a little bit, started doing my own shit, realized I hated doing my own shit. Like going out on stage just like by yourself, like it gets old after a while. And same guy he's talking about, my boy Ronnie, he was we went to high school together, and he was like, man, we should start a band. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, but we need more people besides us two, and he's like, man, I know this kid. He's like, you may not fuck with him at first, but I promise, just give him a chance and you'll like him. And me and this guy met, and pretty much it was a match made in heaven instantly. I was like, oh, you're pure chaos, I'm pure chaos, let's be chaotic together. and yeah, so we went on to start Sky Swamp, and went really hard on that for like the first, I don't know, like 7-8 years, something like that. Did a lot of we got a lot of like touring opportunities like really early on, just kind of right place, right time type shit. We did the final Vans Warp Tour and stuff. That was like technically our first cross country tour was that, but we were cutting our teeth out there, like helping build stages, fucking just just getting in where we fit in. And that taught us a lot. And then then COVID hit, everything exploded, and and out of kind of necessity, like we just kind of started working on our own like solo stuff again too, but like kind of not, because we're all still in the room together like creating. So it's kind of, now that's where we're at now.
Yeah. And real fast to touch on this, you said something about how being on stage by yourself sucks. And it's hard to really fathom if you haven't been in that position. The energy when you're up there with 3, 4, 5 different people, it does not compare to just standing up there by yourself, because you're vibing off of each other's presence. And it
Yeah.
makes, when I was in Menace, it wasn't just, Marty the bass was here, Rich the guitarist is here, Thomas was there, Doc's there, and Jay is here. We were always going all over, and I was walking to here, and Doc was over here, and we were feeding off of each other. That
Mm-hmm.
makes the show so much better. And
Right.
not that there are people who can compensate. Like, for instance, I think V Sinister is one of the best on stage performers, considering the fact that he does it by himself. He doesn't have a hype man. He's up there controlling the crowd, and he does a very good job at it. And he's got the stamina for it. That's something else. That is another part that people don't realize. Watch, if you've never paid attention to something like this, do so next time you see more than 2 people on stage. When one person starts to gas, the other one's supposed to kick in. And that's a very, key part to that when it comes to when you watch the stage performance. That's why I don't like backing tracks a whole lot when it comes to at all. I guess it's a personal preference. I don't think vocals should be in backing tracks. My personal preference, because when you gas, you hear the track. That's what the other person is supposed to be up there to cover you for. And I feel like
Right.
from the audience perspective, it kind of jars them a little bit. And you can see it. You can see it when somebody puts the mic down and the track plays. You can see the audience
Mm-hmm.
kind of go, and
Yeah.
it's real subtle, it's real fast, but it happens. So let me ask you, Novel, something real fast, because you said you had a background in jazz music. Did you play in places, or did you just kind of do that whenever you had free time or something?
Oh, I did that. It was like a high school jazz band. So I
Oh,
did
okay.
actually play in a couple of tournaments. We did get awards from that and stuff. And actually, when I graduated from high school, I got like, I have no idea. It was like some Marine Corps like award for like outstanding like team member in a band or whatever. That was pretty cool. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And that's probably leaps. I have a hard, I believe you. I'm not calling you a liar, but I have a hard time imagining you doing that because you would have to be kind of stationary. And I don't think I've ever seen you on stage once be stationary or docile for that matter. So it's kind of complete mind fuck to do something like that compared to your presence now, isn't it?
I mean, it was called a jazz band, but we had a lot more like creative input
Okay.
for what we did than probably most high schools would give. So
Mm,
I think we were very lucky. Like we got to play like our own rendition of like Wipeout, that like
okay.
surfing rock song, and then we did like Beatles tunes. We covered a Fallout Boy song in a jazz rendition. It
Wow.
was cool. We did all sorts of really cool shit. So
Oh, hell yeah. Good. Good shit. Yeah, because I think when most people think jazz, they think of like the smoky club and people just standing on stage doing the boom, 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 boom,
yeah,
boom. So
that's
that's the
most yeah.
first.
That's how
Yeah.
I found him, bro. That's how I
Yeah.
found him. He was rocking a fedora.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Fedora.
Woman in a bedazzled dress next to him singing. Yeah. That's how
That
that
was
goes.
me.
Right.
I was in the
That was
bedazzled
you.
dress.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Well, that must have been when you guys got together and decided to do Camp Zool 1 because that's how I know you guys. I wish you would have wore the
Yeah.
dress then. But I remember two specific things about Camp Zool 1. And this is one of the next things I kind of want to talk about. The first one is how ungodly cold day 2 was. And I've said this at least probably 4 or 5 different times on this show so far. It was fucking cold. We went from a mildly docile winter day. It was still, I don't even think it was winter at that point, but it was like, I think 45 degrees. The sun was shining. Everything was great. And then somewhere overnight, Ohio was like, hey, let's be Ohio and dump the first snow of the year on these motherfuckers. And that's what happened. It was insanely ungodly cold day 2. And if you know me, you know I can't stand being cold. So that is one of the first things I remember. And not only that, it was damn near impossible to get warm the entire day. And we had an outside stage, which was the first and last time we had an outside stage that time. So for that reason, because it did not work. But also, I remember the quality. Number two, the second thing I remember, the quality of performers on one is still, and this isn't a shot at anybody. So if you're watching this, calm down. It's not a shot. I think the quality of performers on in Camp Zool 1 has been the best. And you guys were a part of that. And that's how I got turned on to Sky Swap Porch. So how did you guys get to that show? And talk about your experience on that.
We had just put out Rituals, I think, was what we had put out, and then we saw something earlier a couple weeks before like anything was really too huge on it, was like sending it like admit your music to be like
Yeah.
chosen to be on here.
Yeah.
And I think we sent Rituals, and we sent like
It was like
probably
Black
like
Light or
Black
something
Light.
at that point.
And I think those were the two big ones that we sent over. And we had sent like we used to always attach our EPK to like every email we sent. I don't like, we kind of have been more consistently, been on a wavelength of people where we're getting booked by people we know more often now.
Yeah.
So it's like not really necessary to send a whole EPK every time you send the email now. But
Right.
I think we attached our EPK with all the stuff that we had done prior, and we got an email back like, "Hey, we like it. Come on down, play."
We had also like we were homies with like people in the camp too, like, so it's like, I think, people putting in good words, for us, just like vouching for us, being like, hey, these are good dudes, they're professional, like, they're not on some bullshit. And we pride ourselves on on that kind of stuff, like our punctuality and all
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like we might, like, depending on when you see us on like a show day or something, it's like just how we look at the end of the night doesn't reflect how we looked at the beginning of the day. You know what I mean? It's like, we're very, very professional. And but yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I remember I think it was Bill that we talked to, and he was just like, hell yeah, dude. He's like, I fuck with your guys' stuff. Like, come on out. And so we made the trek out there. We missed day one, right?
Yeah,
I
it was
think,
like
yeah.
ended up being way further drive than we were initially expecting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a long drive for us, and but yeah, we drove through like a blizzard and all that kind of shit, and then we get there. It's like day two, and everyone's telling us about the chaos from the night before and stuff, and I'm like, it's cold as shit, but I think we were all so hyped on everything. Like the adrenaline was just like getting us pumping, and we were just wiling out. It was a good time.
I know. It was sick, dude. We had never played a
Yeah.
show like that before. It was just wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, I don't know, it definitely it started a relationship between, like us and the LLE camp, and it's been on and popping ever since.
When I got around you guys and I saw the passion you had for it, then I see you guys perform. I think I might have stopped and told you guys afterwards that I was thoroughly impressed, because that was kind of like, because dude, I don't stand on the side of the stage and rock out. I was standing on the stage rocking the fuck out with you guys. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that after you guys got off, I went out of my way to tell you, yo, you guys are fucking killer. Keep doing it. Hope you have it back, whatever. Because I just wanted to, it's very important for me to say that to the groups that are good, because there's so many out there who aren't. So I don't feel like the ones that are good need to be told more often that they probably are told, so they keep moving forward. And when you talk about, your punctuality and your professionalism, case in point, this last night of the Zooligans in October of 2023, I remember a very specific moment with you, Stray, where I'm sitting down like I am now. I've got people in front of me. People are handing me flash drives. Billy gave out my phone number and I completely forgot it. He did. So I'm sitting here getting texts from people and I'm like, who the fuck is texting me? And that's when I finally pieced it together. Like, fuck, Billy gave everyone my number. Now everyone's coming at the same time. Everything's going on around me. Like I said, I got people handing me flash drives to load up their sets. I got the sound guy asking me questions that I don't have answers to. My laptop at that point in time the battery is dead. I don't know it yet. I figured it out later that day, but my battery that day ended up dying on my laptop to the point where it wouldn't hold a charge. So if anybody nudged the plug on the laptop, it was completely shutting down. I'm stressed to the fullest, and I look up to my right, and there you are, just not upset, Stray. You're just standing there being professional, just kind of, hanging out, not doing what everyone else is doing and trying to stick something in my face, or, you're just sitting there biding your time. And then when I finally get to notice you're there and you see that I am acknowledging the fact that you're standing there, that's when you engage. So many people in the scene don't understand when the correct time to engage is. And it's infuriating for the people that are trying to do a job. And you can't say anything because, you know what I'm saying? I want to say something to certain people, especially when it comes to someone just stopping to bullshit. And you can't say anything because that would be unprofessional on your end. And it would be unprofessional if I were to yell at somebody for stopping me. They paid a ticket. They have every right to do it, or they paid to get on the show, or they're a performer, whatever it might be. My job is to answer those questions. However, there's a proper time to do that. And you guys knew that. So, or you, Stray, rather. You knew that when the proper time to do that was. And that's the stuff that I remember. Not only the music, because, again, I told you guys, your music is great. The first day I saw you, I was rocking with you. The professionalism takes it to a whole nother level. So, at what point did you guys go from, and if you don't want to address the specifics, that's fine. But what point did it get from Sky Swamp Orange to just you guys kind of doing the duo thing?
You want to take that?
I mean, I would say probably like March of last year would have been about the time that we really kind of just started doing the duo thing. But it wasn't like because we're not purposefully like calling Sky Swamp quits or anything. Is just
Sure.
the other guys have a much busier, like, in different mindsets right
Yeah.
now. Than like they're trying to build upon things right now that they want to build upon. Completely understandable. We all live right now like between 1 to 2 hours apart from each other, so it's hard
Ooh.
also to get
Yeah.
together in that manner. There's no like
Practicing
hard.
is a big that's got to hurt on the practicing front as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not. There's no hard feelings between any of us at all, and
Yeah.
it's not like this is not Sky Swamp is not gone. It's just right now. It's like Stray and I. We're super tight. We actively communicate with each other, and we're actively hanging out with each other like pretty consistently. So it's a lot easier for the two of us to just do this thing, you know.
But and
And of
also
course,
just
like, we want to keep relevance to our branding.
mhm.
You got to keep making appearances. Just because the other two guys can't go doesn't mean that we can't go and represent our whole umbrella of a team. Like, at Super Famous Super Show, we had Hunter with us. He's usually our drummer, but he was like our DJ slash hype man at Super Show. Like, anytime we can get them involved in what we're doing, they're coming along.
Yeah, and it's like a thing that it's like a lot of people don't realize is we've been doing Sky Swamp for so long and stuff
Sure.
like consistently, yeah, like where I mean for like 7 years straight, it's like we weren't doing like what normal people do, like going on vacations and doing all these things. Like we just dedicated like 1,000% of our time to touring and practicing and writing music, recording just diligently.
Yeah.
And it's like after a while, it's like, everybody has their own interests, that they want to pursue outside the band too. Like, our guitar player Ronnie, he's really good at, like, right now he's pursuing his own leatherworks business and
Mm.
stuff, like does really good leather goods kind of stuff, like handmade, and that's where he's finding his peace and happiness and, itching his uh, creative niche, so to speak, and um, like
Hunter
me
does
and
woodworking. He's
yeah,
a
yeah,
woodworker. He's got his
they're
own
all like,
woodworking thing going on.
but me and this guy are just insane. So, and we like our favorite thing to do, man, is me and this guy will get together and we'll just write songs, man. We just kick it and write songs. Like we just have so much fun doing that, and um when everybody was kind of, I think we were all on the same wavelength of just wanting to take a break a little bit from the band
Yeah.
stuff and just kind of recharge in different lanes. Like, I did a solo album and put that out last year. He's about to go put out his solo project, just trying like different styles of music too. And because Sky Swamp is very much like a meeting of the minds where,
Sure.
every member's got an equal say in what's happening, and, rewriting lyrics like a million times and stuff. Because it's like, oh, I wouldn't say this, but like, let's say something that relates to all of us. And I think we also have been through like weirdly super traumatic stuff as a band, with members, old members, all that kind of stuff. And I think everybody was just like mentally and physically kind of just drained of
Yeah.
everything, because we put out our album Odium and we put a lot of those emotions into that shit. And I think that project, we worked on it for 2 years diligently. It was just like, I think it took a toll on everybody. And, I think we all just kind of wanted to clear our headspaces. But, me and this guy, we kept getting show opportunities. So we kind of just developed this whole like, well, we're not going to go out here and call ourselves Sky Swamp Orange.
Sure.
Like
Right.
we're not going to disrespect our brothers by like doing that shit.
Yeah, that
And
would be like me putting out a solo record under the name Menace to Sobriety, knowing damn good and well there's 6 other guys in that band who aren't included in it. It's just as corny as that. Yeah, there's no reason
right,
to do something like
right.
that.
And it's like I don't want people coming to like a show to see us thinking they're gonna get like Sky
Right.
Swamp. And that's why when we do the Stray and Novel stuff, we don't perform any Sky Swamp songs in our set or anything. And we just kind of have our own little vibe that we kind of run with. And it's been fun though, man. The shows, I feel like our stage show as Stray and Novels is getting a lot tighter, and it's getting more fun. Like uh I don't know, that's the thing too, is like we're just having a blast on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not worried about how many people are in the crowd. We're not worried about what other performers are doing for their shit. We're just like, hey man, let's go make some memories tonight and fucking play some music,
Yeah.
and just have a good time.
Yeah, I think that the point where, and again, I love Sky Swamp. I love all the music you guys put out. But the first song that I actually got it's hard for me to listen to my friends' music. I'm not gonna lie, because it's not that I don't want to support them, but I'm like I have to be able to listen to the track and not hear my friend. Does that make sense? Like I have to be able to hear the artist. If like for
Right.
instance the song the Hive from SON, that's on a regular rotation playlist of mine because it's done to the point where yes I know Logan, but I'm not listening to Logan. I'm listening to SON. The first song that got me was when I saw you two perform Awful at Night of the Zooligans. I'm actively behind the booth like, oh shit, they got me. Like I was at that point where I'm like, oh, they got me. So I ended up going through that album and I found that track, and that track is in my, well, was at the time. I changed my regular rotation list. I have one list on Spotify and I put songs in and I take them out just as much. And Awful was actually on my 2023 top 100 most song plays, and I just got it in October. You know what I'm saying? So it was
Hell yeah.
that's how much I was rocking it. But so yeah, I totally understand what you guys are saying. It's a different vibe, it's a different feel, but you guys kill it. And on that same token, when it comes to taking breaks, and yes, I know I'm not pronouncing the name correct, so if you want to correct me, blow me. Rammstein, Richard from Rammstein, I was watching one of his interviews because Rammstein is one of those bands, probably one of the only bands on the planet that I can even think of that has never had a member go in and out. Like they've never had to replace one or anything. And he was being asked, what do you think is the reason why? And Richard had a response that is so simple, but it makes more sense in the world. He goes, well, we're kind of like a marriage without sex. So when one of us needs a break, we all take a break. It's not, oh, you need a break, so we're just going to replace you and we'll talk later if there's an opportunity. One member wants out, we all get out until that one person comes back. And that is how they've been able to maintain their roster of that band for so long, because they're all, what I said earlier about being on stage and you're feeding off of everyone's energy, that doesn't stop when you walk off, the stage. And I think that's something a lot of people don't realize when you have a band. And it's something I had to become attuned to because when I joined Menace 9 years ago at this point, I had never been in a band before. Now I'm being inserted with 6, 7, 8, 9, sometimes, depending on crew size, 9 other personalities that are just as strong as mine. And it is constant. That energy don't stop. You're training yourself to feed off of everyone else. That's how a band is coercive. You have to pay attention to what everyone else is feeling, their vibe and everything, and it does not stop. It gets exhausting after a while. And unfortunately, at the end of the band, for us, for Menace, we had a couple different member changes, and I experienced that when you have to tell somebody, hey, you got to get the fuck out. Unless they have done something to personally fuck you over, that is very difficult. And luckily I had to be a part of it. It wasn't me that had to tell this person, but they were having personal issues that they could have controlled and were choosing their personal issues over the band. And that was, you want to feel bad for kicking them out, but you're like, you did it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that it can be just that alone can really hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to match somebody's energy. You're getting to know them. You're on the road with them. You're almost dying in some instances when you're on the road with them. That leaves a mark in your brain that you will hold with this person, and now you're telling
Right.
them, hey, you're no longer a part of this. That shit fucking sucks. But
Hey
you
man,
know
we
how?
had to
Okay,
we had to do that
go ahead.
mid tour one time, and
Oh
that really sucked. And it's like those situations are tough, you know, and they're
yeah,
awkward, and it's not easy for anybody. But I think at the end of the day, the even people that have been like kicked out or stayed in the band or came back or anything, I think one thing that anybody who's been in a band can understand is that when you create a band with all these personalities like you're saying, right, they the band becomes your safe space.
yeah,
It's like it's the escapism of it all, and you're like, what, here's this group of individuals who share the same escape that I do, that brings me
mm-hmm,
peace in the world. Like, we could be having the worst of days, and it's like, man, it's like just having a practice or something. It's like it could just be like that moment you needed to just turn
yeah,
your day around a little bit or something. And um I think when people start letting too much of the stuff that affects them on the outside kind of seep in,
yeah,
they expect
right,
everybody else around them to kind of um just go with it. And it's
yeah,
like, well, hey man, like, I'm sorry you're dealing with this and dealing with that, but like you're hurting my safe space as well, and it's
right,
like, d- don't take the thing that I love that is pure and just like a release to myself, and don't step all over it. You know what I mean? It's like, if you got to step away and handle your shit, do that shit. Or on a personal level, if you need help, I'm here to help you. But
right.
like, let's do it outside these walls rather than make a mess inside the house?
Hmm.
So something I wanted to ask you guys, because I think a lot of people would be curious the answer. What does Sky Swamp Orange mean? Because I've never been able to figure out. Like, I try to typically crack the code
Uh,
and I can't to save my life. So where did you guys get that name from?
yeah. All right. So, like, depending on the day and who you ask, any single one of us is going to tell you a different thing. The truth is, it actually doesn't mean anything. It's a picture. It's an image, is what it is. It's
It's some
an image.
onomatopoeia.
Yeah. I mean, Stray was, sitting pond side under a sunset, a little inebriated. He looked up at the sky down at the pond, saw the reflection, and said, "Sky Swamp Orange."
Where was it? Was he doing this in New Orleans where there was a swamp? That
No,
sounds so
it
This
was
was in
more of like a
Connecticut.
weird like like river runoff area. So it was
okay.
just
All
kind of
right.
like pooled like a swamp with like algae and all this kind of shit. And
Right.
I was
Right.
and I was just kind of like, I don't know, like, it was a sunset and the sky was just this crazy bright orange, right? And I was sitting there with the guitar player from Sky Swamp, and we were having a couple beers and shit, just like chilling out on a summer evening. And but the clouds were very hazy all through the sky, so it looked kind of trippy, and we were just like, I was like, man, it's like a swamp in the sky. And I'm like, oh, a sky swamp. That sounds kind of cool. And then I was like, sky swamp orange, like, it's just a fucking edge lord way of saying like a sunset, but we kind of
Sure.
adopted the the theoretical idea of like a sunset and adapted it like that to our band philosophy, if that makes sense. Like, how it's the end of one thing and the beginning of another. It's like you're going into night, the day is ending. It's kind of like a rebirth thing. And because our goal when we started the band was just kind of like, we didn't want a genre. We just, like, because we all
Mhm.
come from different musical backgrounds, and we were just like, all right, let's take a little bit of like well, you got a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and just combine it. And so it was the idea of, um, like the way a sunset just kind of drips away the day and goes into nighttime. It's like that. I don't know. At the time, it was just very like fitting for sonically where we were trying to go. Like it was a little dark, but it was a little
Yeah.
moody, and it was a little vibey, and all that kind of stuff. It's just all the shit we like, but you know, other members have adapted their own like ideologies to it of like the sky is infinite possibilities, and the swamp is mysterious and full of unknown life, and orange is like the color of on like if you look at what's
Creativity.
it like a color wheel of auras, so to speak.
Yeah.
The color of orange is the color of creativity and stuff. So it's a bunch of fucking nose up in the air fucking ass answers. But it's whatever people want it to be. Like our biggest thing is, we just want to make our own original sound, and when you hear it, it's Sky Swamp. It's just a blend.
Yeah.
And it sounds cool. It just sounds cool after a while because it has everybody asking us, what the fuck is that?
Well, I want you guys to understand just how much time I put into thinking, what the fuck does that mean? It's been a lot. It's happened quite a few times. That's funny
Yeah.
that this whole time I've been doing it and it doesn't really mean anything.
I think it was I was talking with Whipstick from the Fun Time guys, and he said for like the longest time he kept telling Eight Legs that he was like, "Oh, you don't know what a Sky Swamp orange is? Like, you really just don't know?" Like, and had him like going for a loop trying to like Google the shit, and like he thought it was an actual thing.
That's legit.
Good
That's
times.
legit. Okay. All right. So as we wind down here, I want to do something that I like challenging musicians, or when I talk to a wrestler, I ask sometimes about, certain qualities in match. So Novels will start with you, and Stray will hit with you. You only have 3 albums you can listen to for the rest of your life. 3, not 4, 3. What are they?
Okay. So only 3. All right. I'm going to include some more recent ones too. So I'm going to go with Kim Dracula's A Gradual Decline in Morale. I'm going to go with No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom, and I'm going to go with
Woo!
the Beatles. We'll go with Rubber Soul.
What about you, dog?
This is tough, man. This is real tough.
This is a tough one.
I'm gonna go with Love Story by Yellow Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Um, Volume 3 from Slipknot, and
Okay.
The Green Book from Twisted.
I gotta do a follow-up here.
All right.
Why volume 3 over? Everyone typically says Iowa, and I don't
Mhm.
agree. That's not my opinion, but whenever somebody talks about their favorite Slipknot album, it's usually Iowa. So when somebody says something else, I'm usually curious. Why volume 3 as opposed to the others?
Um, I mean, I love the others out. The first 2 albums there, the
Hmm.
self-titled Iowa, they're great. But I think Volume 3, I felt like encompassed a lot of those elements, but also it was like the first time I feel like you heard Slipknot kind of lean more into their experimental stuff. That it
Sure.
was like I don't know, some of their trippier stuff, or like they had more like melodic kind of things and stuff. Like I just think
Yeah.
that album sonically and like genre wise was so like abstract and all over the place, and that was an album I think it's one of those ones where it just comes into your life at the right time, and it just
Yeah,
becomes
sure.
super influential. And hearing tracks on that album, I mean, obviously you got like the main ones like Duality and all that kind of stuff, which I think are some of their best songs, but you had heavy stuff like Pulse of the Maggots on that. Like
Yeah.
it was music just get you hyped, like you just want to run around like knocking people out. But then it's like you got something like the song Circle on there, which is like the super like ambient melancholy kind of
Mhm.
just weird track that's like semi acoustic. And I just thought like the duality of those two things, like no pun intended there, but fucking just like the
Notes.
two sides of how it could get so aggressive and then just so beautiful at the same time. It's just
Mhm.
like I love that juxtaposition. And
Yeah.
it's kind of the same vibe as my other two picks there too. It's like Green Book and Love Story. Those are both albums that I feel like have just a roller coaster rides in them, and they kind of blend genres here and there. And I don't know. It's just like, yeah, those are my top three right now. It'll probably change next week, but those are the top three.
Sure. Yeah, for me, it's always the first self-titled record,
Hmm.
just because, like you said, it came along at the right time. The very first MP3 I ever downloaded was Wait and Bleed. MTV.com, back when MTV still gave a fuck about music, was the first one to really start putting out MP3s. And Wait and Bleed was on there. And I'd seen the name. People in my school would wear Slipknot shirts all the time. And not knowing anything about them, it was the album cover was the big T-shirt, the
Hmm.
original, nine in the suit. And so when I saw the name up and I downloaded the MP3, that not only was it the first MP3 I ever downloaded, that was also the very first metal song I'd ever heard in my life. So that was my literally Wait and Bleed was my introduction to metal. So
Yeah.
that is why
Yeah.
that album, and I totally get what you're saying about the diversity and why Volume 3 was so much different. That album is hard from you when you press play until it ends. There
Hmm.
is no, and in the bonus edition, it gets worse because they have the hyper, say the hyper edition to spit it out and all that.
Yeah.
So there's not as much as that, like you were saying, the diversity in that record. So I totally get what you're saying on that. But okay. So last question, Stray, we'll start with you, then Novels will go to you. What is something that somebody would hear about you and go, damn, he's into that for real?
Hmm. Uh, shit,
Novels,
man.
apparently it's cats.
I don't know, man. I feel like I tend to be a pretty open book with like a lot of stuff. Like I'm not embarrassed by anything that I'm into, but shit. Okay, you know what? Here we go. Fucking roast me for this one. Lately, I've been so just like bored of everything I'm listening to, like just as a consumer of music. So my go-to genre lately to listen to something is country. I've been listening to a lot of country music. Don't worry, guys. There's no country album coming. Don't worry. But I grew up hating fucking country music, dude. Absolutely
Yes.
hated it. And it's only like the last like year or so, like I've been finding little things here and there that I'm like, oh, okay, I vibe with this, I vibe with that. Like, miss me with the get up on the hood of my daddy's tractor bullshit, like I don't need that in my life. But like, I don't know, I'm just starting to appreciate other types of
Oh,
music.
shit.
Good songs are good
So
songs, but I guess
name
that's
a
I
couple
don't know
artists.
that.
Name a
um
couple artists.
I've been into this dude named Hardy and stuff who
Okay.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
he mixes kind of like I don't know, like a grunge rock kind of sound with
Yeah.
some country and shit. And he's got some bops, man. I can't lie. It's pretty good. And then this dude, Zach Bryan, who's like, I don't know, he's like more on like a folky kind of side. Um, just a really good storyteller. It's not the typical, like my dog is in the pickup truck and she left me.
Right.
It's just like more poetic and I don't know, like it's very ambient kind of stuff. I just fuck with it from like a songwriting perspective. But Those are some of the
Okay.
ones, you know. Who don't love
Perfect.
Jelly
No,
Roll? Come on.
yeah, it's so funny. And then novels, we'll get to you. I'll say this one last thing. It's so funny. All the old white guys that I work with are like just now getting hip to Jelly Roll. And every single one of them that brings it up, I was like, okay, I want you to go ahead, get on a Spotify and keep scrolling. Go
Yeah.
all the way down and then tell me if you still like them. Because then you're going to hear what I know them from,
All
not what
right.
you know them
All
from.
right. We're
Keep scrolling. Go.
we're waiting to see what happens when cancel culture gets a hold of old
Yeah.
Jelly.
Right, right. Novels. What's something that somebody would hear about you and go, damn, he's into that?
I actually like really enjoy like EDM music, like bass
Okay.
heavy, like probably a lot of like I guess what you would call cover tronica is like I'm big
Mm,
into. It's like covers of big songs, but they're like
Did you make that word
yeah.
up?
no, I did not make that up. But
It's
like
like
deep
cover
bass
Tronica.
shit like that. I'm also like a big fan of like any competition based reality show.
Okay.
I don't. I
Okay.
just.
So like Survivor?
Oh, I love Survivor. Survivor's the
Okay.
shit. I love Survivor. Next Level Chef, shit like that. Uh, Lego Masters. I watch it all.
All right. I try really hard not to bash people during this question segment. And I'm hoping you don't make me. Because if you do, this is going to change the nature of our relationship. Do you watch The Masked Singer?
No, I don't watch that.
Okay. Woo. All right. All right. Listen to me. My wife loves The Masked Singer. And I constantly ask her, why? Well, they're trying to guess who it is. Okay, the whole point of this show is, hey, guess who's singing under the hood? That's the whole fucking show. I can't stand that show. I hate it with a seething passion, but she loves it. And her and my mom will get together and they will talk about the events that happened to the show. Here's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to sing under a mask, which, by the way, they're not singing live. You guys know this because you deal with microphones.
Yeah.
There's a microphone right in front of me. If I do this, or if I do this, the sound changes. If I go away from that microphone, the sound will change. These people have their mic in the air, sound never changes. They're not even singing. They're not singing live at that time. This is pre-recorded. This entire premise of the show is fucking dumb. Anyway, so I'm really glad you said you didn't watch that one because God, I hate that fucking show. But okay, all right, cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to get on another soapbox. You guys have gotten me on a lot of soapbox today. It's weird. I normally don't. I think it's because I'm comfortable. It's different, like
Yeah.
if I'm talking to fucking Eric Bischoff, you know what I'm saying? I'm usually a lot more conservative, but not so much on
Hey,
this one.
we tend to bring out the shit talking in people, you
Yeah.
know?
Right. For sure, for sure. Well, like I said, it's been a pleasure getting to know you guys today a little bit more because we're always so busy on show days. It's hard to get that opportunity to sit down and chat. Big fan of your guys' work. Like I said, Awful's on my regular off and on, usually on my playlist at least once a month or once or twice a month. Great track. I love what you guys are doing. I love the vibe that you put out there. So I'm going to give the last couple of minutes to you guys. Novels, we'll start with you, and Astray will go to you. If there's anything you want to plug, socials, whatever, floor is yours.
Absolutely. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. You can if you type Novls NOVLS, I'll probably be the first thing to pop up no matter what. But on Instagram, it's at ITZNOVLS. And on Facebook, it's NOVLS. Trust me, I'll be the only one to pop up. And then I think on YouTube, it's at NOVLS. So follow me. I'm working on some shit right now. Think Seen and Heard. It's if this is coming out when
May
May.
the
So this
second
is
week of
May.
May. Yeah.
It's coming or it's here or it's around this time, baby.
Hell
Take it,
yeah.
enjoy it, love it, or
Good shit.
be
Straight.
highly anticipated for it because it's coming very soon. or it's already
Either
out
way
now
it
and you can
goes.
bump it.
And see that you got to follow him to find out. So go search it right now. Stray, it's your turn, bub.
Yeah, man. Just expect a lot of music from both of us, this year. We've been kind of just not stopping, just staying working. We'll be at Camp Zool June 21st. So make sure you guys come out, have a good
Number
time,
4.
get
Yes,
bloody with
sir.
us. And um, yeah, if you haven't, I recently put out a solo album. It's called Cloudy Alibi. Fucking check that bitch out. Um, just dropped a single, like a standalone one called Kill Me in Connecticut. That's my most recent thing. I got some stuff I'm working on for a little later in the year. And yeah, this dude's got his project, Things Seen and Heard, getting ready to come out. Super dope project. And yeah, man, just keep watching, connect with us, and don't be afraid to, come give us a sweaty hug at a show because we're either going to be creeped out or embrace you. So let's play Russian roulette. Let's go.
My brothers, I greatly appreciate you joining me today. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having
Absolutely.
us.
Thank you for having us, man.